implement is really increasing, I guess, the external traveling and such. I know that like we have a lot to work that's we need to have within our own state, but I also would like to us to also travel to other states. So one of the projects I would like to do is working with other CoSRs to create a kind of like a tour, a culture show tour, where everyone puts in a list of their culture shows, and then we have like a graphic and stuff, and like we can be like encourage other members to go. And I know that that can be kind of restrictive because like not everyone can travel, so like that's an external thing. But within our state, definitely increasing the collaboration, and also I had thought about maybe doing like inviting other schools to like come to our, not just our show, but then also like getting involved with it. Like obviously not this year, but like maybe in the future, like trying to see if like, because not a lot of schools have a culture show, so and I know a lot of schools want to, so like trying to get them involved in a way, like maybe not our own culture show, but maybe like a statewide type of show.
Thank you. What will you strengthen between your state and UVSA Midwest?
I definitely would like to strengthen the communication and the resources. I know that we have new schools that need those resources to better establish their VSAs, and what I've seen is that kind of lacks within UVSA Midwest. So making sure that like there's resources that are readily available, that like they don't have to constantly ask around. Like maybe having like previously we talked about a toolkit about how new schools can like what they can do to start up. And I know that UNAFSA has a VSA Academy, but that's not entirely updated. So like just making sure that the communication is good, because like we can't expect all members to know exactly what every event is and what it entails, and it's a lot of like having us to explain. So like having a place where they can really look up what they need to and then get the proper resources, so they don't have to keep asking around constantly.
Thank you. Now, what do you think are some things that could have been improved with the previous CoSR member, and how do you plan to improve these?
With the previous CoSR member, they had kind of dropped out of nowhere, so we weren't sure if we even had a CoSR. So definitely keeping the positions within UVSA Midwest and also the CoSR accountable for their actions. So making sure that they are communicating with all schools and being the resource that they are supposed to be. So I would definitely always work on like having an effective communication route. So maybe establishing like either bi-weekly or monthly meetings where we can go over our school's events, UVSA updates, UNAFSA updates, and making sure that everyone is well informed with accurate information and not just like having to search for themselves. So creating an effective line of communication for every school and every member so that they can be well informed.
Thank you. How do you plan to connect local VSAs together, especially those that are not as involved or are smaller/new?
So I have already started this process in that I have reached out to the presidents and external vice presidents or IVPs or vice presidents for these schools, and we've created a group chat for VSAL. And so far, like we've been able to create a contact sheet, introduce each other, and get to know one another. We still are working on communicating more, since we usually just put in updates. So if elected, I would like to increase this participation between schools, because I know not a lot of schools are well established, and not all schools are member schools within UVSA Midwest. So trying to identify those barriers that those schools may have, and then working together to collaborate and create a structure that can help everyone basically benefit one another, and then share the resources and just become a greater member state.
Okay. Thank you. Your next question is how do you plan to reduce chances of burnout, since the position of CoSR entails a lot of responsibility and commitment?
As someone who has been heavily involved in different organizations in the past that aren't solely VSA, I have not experienced burnout yet, because I believe that the thing to prevent burnout is to have a passion for it. If you have a strong passion, it's going to be harder for you to burn out, because you know that like there's something that your heart wants to do, and that if you can keep that passionate fire alive within inside of you, that can really prevent burnout. Because I know there's a lot of tasks and responsibilities that leadership positions have. So definitely finding ways to reinvent and recreating that passion inside you to keep pushing you to continue, instead of just like calling it quits because things are getting harder than what you expected.
Okay, awesome. How will you balance this along with all your other responsibilities?
like stated previously before, I am involved in different organizations outside of ESA, within the Midwest, and also within my own campus. I've been able to allocate time for each involvement that I'm in, so I have been able to get a lot better with my time management, also like working as a student.
Okay,
and also
I'm sorry,
working-
but that is 4 minutes and I had to cut you off.
It's
But thank
okay.
you.